welcome to day number 4 of All Hallows Week. Today I wanted to do some spooky treats that are perfect for your next Halloween party, or maybe if you're just doing some goodie bags for friends, family, whatever it may be. These are super simple, very delicious, and are super versatile. So maybe not necessarily for Halloween, but if you want to customize them for some other holiday or special occasion, or just leave them in their all natural state, they are the perfect little bite-sized dessert for any occasion you might need them for. So let's get started. So for today, I'm going to be doing Oreo balls. Super simple, only 4 ingredients if you do the basic recipe. So what we're gonna do is the basic Oreo ball and then a few other really fun variations to spice it up a bit and just to give you an idea on how you can customize it for whatever your needs may be. For starters, the basic ingredients that you are gonna need for the Oreo ball. First thing you'll need, Oreos, cream cheese, powdered sugar, white chocolate. I always use the original Oreos, not even the double stuff, just the normal original Oreos. This is actually the first thing that you can change to start customizing it. Now, if you wanted to do something a little more Halloween, you can always use the red velvet Oreo to give you a nice red bloody center. So now that we have all of our basic ingredients, let's put them all together. First thing you want to do is get all your Oreos nice and crumbled. There are 2 ways you can do it. If you have a food processor, I would highly recommend using it. It is so much easier than doing it the alternative way, which is basically the way I've always made it, because this is not mine, this is my roommate's and she just got it herself. So the other way that you can do it is by getting a large plastic bag, dumping all of the Oreos in it, and then taking a rolling pin or some other object and just beating the Oreos until they're nice and crumbled up. So since I have the food processor, it is a little small, so I'm going to do it in a couple of batches, but this is going to be much faster and much easier for me, and I'm also out of plastic bags. So we're going to do it this way to save on some time. Alright, so now that it kind of looks like coffee grains, like that's how finely you want it, I am going to go do the other 2 rows and then I will be back. Now that I have my crumbled Oreos, I am going to add the cream cheese. So for this, you are just going to add the entire thing. If you do have a bigger food processor, you can just add this straight into the food processor, but because mine is nice and tiny, I'm going to basically do this the way I would have done if I had used the method of smashing them in a plastic bag, which is just dump it all in together into a bowl and mix it with my hands. So definitely make sure you are washing your hands if you are using this method, just because you are not baking these. So make sure your hands are nice and clean before you get in there. You can also use some gloves if you don't feel like washing your hands is enough. So yeah, you really want to get in there and mix it all up. You do want to make sure that your cream cheese is room temperature, and that's just going to make incorporating it a lot easier. Just like with baking and adding your batter, if you also don't have a very big bowl, just be very careful that the Oreos don't, like, when you're squeezing it all together, they don't come out and over the sides of the bowl. And eventually it just really starts to come together, almost like a dough where you can really get in there and you don't have to be as careful once all of those crumbles have started getting incorporated into that cream cheese. Alright, so you basically should have a pretty sticky dough-like consistency here now. Next thing I'm going to do with this is add in the powdered sugar, but I am going to wash my hands before I do that. And for the powdered sugar, we're only going to be adding in 1/4 cup. And then again, we're going to mix it all together. And with this, because it is a powder, be careful, you don't want it blowing up in your face. And this definitely makes it not as, I guess, sticky. It's much easier to kind of get it off your fingers than it was before having that powdered sugar in it. Alright, so I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'm actually going to roll these into 1-inch balls, and then I'm actually going to put them in the refrigerator for 30 minutes to harden before we start dipping them. I have lined my baking sheet with some tin foil. Normally it would be parchment paper. I thought I had some, but I guess it's 2 rolls of the clear plastic, whatever that's called, and I thought one of them was parchment. So we're going to use tin foil. So I want to get about 1 inch, roll it up in the palms of your hands, and then you're just going to do that with the rest of your mixture. Alright, right, now that they're all rolled out, I'm gonna stick them into the freezer for 30 minutes to harden. I'm doing the freezer over the refrigerator just because it's colder and it'll set up a lot faster. All right, so while those are hardening up, I am going to go through a much healthier version. I've actually never tried these before, but I'm going to take a version of my overnight oats because they seem to have a really good consistency to do something like this. So we're gonna test it, we're gonna try it, fingers crossed. And if it goes well, then boom, healthier version of the Oreo balls for anyone who may need to be watching their macros or just don't want a sugar overload treat. So what we're gonna need for this is going to be some old-fashioned oats, some almond milk, or really any dairy product of your choosing, and some protein powder. For this, I do usually use the PE Science Cake Pop protein powder. That is my favorite, but I do have this sample of the gourmet vanilla, so I'm going to use this. So for this, I am going to take the container that I usually use to make my overnight oats with, and just because we are testing it, just in case it doesn't turn out good, I don't want to waste any food. We're only going to do half a cup. For me, I do equal parts the oats and the milk, so half cup of each. And that should be 1 scoop if you do have the big tub, just 1 scoop of protein powder. Hopefully that's the same conversion. We will soon find out. Then mix it all together. All right, so this, if you can see it, is a little watery. So what I'm gonna do is add a little bit more oats and try and get it a little thicker consistency. And I am choosing the oats to thicken it up because I don't have any more protein powder. So you can also choose to thicken it up with protein powder, which is probably a better idea, but we'll see if this works. It still seems a bit watery, but we're just gonna go with it. So what you can do is you can either leave this overnight in the refrigerator to chill like normal, or at a minimum 2 hours. So I will check back, see what the consistency is like, and go from there. And the last kind of variation that you can do with the ingredients that I've actually done is make a vegan version. I'm not gonna do that right now, but because Oreos are vegan, all you really need to do is find a dairy-free cream cheese. And I do believe there is a brand called Tofutti. That is at least the brand that I used when I made my vegan version. And the thing is, the consistency will be a little off as you're making it. It's not going to be as thick. It's not going to be, it's going to definitely be a little more sticky and, you know, really get on your hands and be a little harder to get off. But other than that, the taste is the same and the consistency as you're eating it is the same. And then just to make sure that you are making it vegan, you do need to make sure you're using a vegan chocolate. So there is another alternative that you can do with the ingredients. Now that these are out of the freezer, I'm going to melt my white chocolate. I'm also going to melt some dark chocolate because, like I said, we are going to be doing some spooky variations for the holiday season. So I have my melted chocolate right here, and what I did was I just put it in a microwave safe bowl, put it in for 30 seconds at a time, and then stirred it after every turn until I got a nice smooth consistency like that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my Oreo balls, give them one more shaping just as they're nice and cold, very easy to mold, and then I'm just gonna plop that in, make sure it is fully covered. Are there easier ways to do this? Maybe. Get all the drip off, and then I just flip it back on to the tray. So I'm going to coat as many as I can in white chocolate, and then I'm going to do the same with the dark chocolate. A fork might be better because it can drain as opposed to a spoon. Don't judge me. You don't also have to shape. As you can see, like, I'm not really reshaping any of them, but if you feel some of them are just really whack, it's a really good idea to give them another roll down right before dipping them into the chocolate, obviously. And it's gonna hold the shape a lot better because it was just frozen. So I went ahead and melted my dark chocolate the exact same way, and with the chocolate, I actually wanted to try and make these look like cauldrons, but what I am gonna do is have some toothpicks. Again, don't know if this is gonna work, but I think what I wanna do is I'm gonna kind of flatten the part of the Oreo ball currently on the tray. We're gonna bloop it in there, fully cover it with the chocolate, and then using the toothpick, take it out, make sure that all drips off, and then place it and push down, and that's how we're going to kind of create that rim. So that actually seemed to work out pretty nicely, so I'm going to do that to as many Oreo balls as I can. you are planning on reshaping them after they've been frozen, you do want to work kind of fast because these are already kind of thawed. So me trying to reshape them, they're not really going to hold it because they're, you know, not firm anymore. Also, for the chocolate, I would recommend buying, like you saw I had 1 bag, I would definitely recommend buying 2 bags for every box of Oreos that you're going to be doing, because the chocolate does not go far. Even if you are doing a light coating, I always like make sure I have extra chocolate just in case. I only used half of the, like this was half of the white chocolate and I only got 3 rows in. So you can see, like, definitely be safe than sorry. Go with a little, at least 1 more thing of chocolate, whether you're going to use the bar or the chips, go with at least 1 more. Like I said earlier, how I would normally use parchment paper. The reason I would use parchment paper is because the tin foil obviously is not smooth. It did get a little crinkled, even though I did try to place it on as smoothly as possible. The parchment paper is just going to give you a smoother, it's not going to be crinkly, so you don't have to worry about that messing up the bottom of your Oreo ball. Alright, so now that all of these are covered, you can see, well, I don't know from up there if you can see it, but they have started to harden just a little. What you can do is you can always leave them out at room temperature to harden. You can put them in the refrigerator to speed it up. I always put them in the freezer just because 1, it goes by faster. 2, people just seem to like them more when they're frozen as opposed to refrigerated or room temp. I'm going to put these in the freezer for another 30 minutes, and then usually you can stop right there if you want to, if you are doing just the original, but because we are decorating, we have another step. Alright, so now that these have had time to set up, now we can actually decorate. So for the white chocolate Oreo balls, I'm going to actually be making them look like eyeballs. So I have some blue and black frosting, and we have some red as well if we want to make them look extra bloodshot, which, you know, I think is extra spoopy, perfect for the season. You can have a piping bag. I'm just going to use the toothpicks, and let's find one with a good face. We'll do the color first, like a normal person, and we're just going to paint that on. This again would probably look a lot nicer and a lot neater if I did use a piping bag, but I'm also lazy. So we can make this the lazy person's guide to Halloween treats. That sounds fun. And you know what? It's also Halloween. Things don't have to look nice. Part of the aesthetic. We're gonna poof a little black people onto that old eyeball. It looks fine. I'm gonna take some red and we're gonna make it look like it's bloodshot. And then you have a nice little bloodshot eyeball. Perfect for Halloween. All right, so let's actually take a look at these cauldrons. This looks pretty nice. No, it's okay. We can find a good one. If you're wondering where some of these went, my roommate's already dug into them, if that does not tell you how good they are. So this is kind of what we were going for. I wanted that rim to kind of give it that cauldron shape. And then I'm just gonna paint the bottom with red and yellow frosting to kind of make it look like there's some flames going on here. Yeah, mixing it with that yellow really gave it like a nice flame look. I really like this actually. Now, probably most potions tend to be like purple, green. I don't have another bowl. I don't feel like cleaning a bowl to make those colors, so we're just gonna plop some blue. We have some blue potions. Wait, I also have yellow frosting. I can make green like that. This is what I learned when I was in school. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's get some of that yellow. Let's get a different toothpick because that's got red on it. Not bad. So if you are going to do something like this, I would suggest getting like maybe a styrofoam holder or something so you can stick it in there because you do have frosting on both sides. This came out actually really cute, so let's give it a taste though. Yeah, that's good. What's really fun, and one of the reasons I really like doing the eyeball for Halloween, is that instead of toothpicks, you can use forks. So it's cute. You have a little eyeball and you have a fork. It looks like you're eating an eyeball. All right, so let's try the white chocolate one. So good. It's almost fudgy in consistency, which is really nice. So I'm gonna finish this, and then I'm gonna go grab the overnight oats, and we're gonna see how that actually turned out. Alright, so this came out to be a really good consistency. Not liquid, pretty much a solid. That's exactly what we want. So I have another tray here. I think I'll scoop them out. Oh yeah, it's very liquidy, so it doesn't look bad, but it's definitely very soft. So I'm not gonna roll these in my hand. I'm just gonna gently form them, stick them in the freezer, and hopefully that'll harden them. From there, I can kind of refine the shape if I need to. All right, so now these are definitely firm. These are rock hard. This is gonna be super easy to dip. All right. Not with a toothpick, so we're using the spoon method we used earlier. And again, it's oatmeal. It's probably not going to be as smooth as the Oreo ball. You'll definitely see like the oatmeal will be a little more crackly, but that's fine. If you wanted to make these more Halloween, maybe like you probably make them look like a brain and use white chalk. I mean, I'm using the dark color. It's supposed to be healthier, but maybe like dye it red and you can make it look like a brain. That's an idea. What else could these kind of look like? I mean, black. You could do like rocks. Just here's some Halloween rocks. What else with this crackly shape of theirs? You know what? You're creative. I'm sure you can come up with something. Why do I have to come up with all the ideas? I'm pulling all the weight here. Rude. Yeah, these are setting up really nicely. I said this was dark chocolate, but this is, I mean, granted it's only 6%, so it's not so dark. Another thing that you can do if you don't want to just completely drench these in chocolate, you can always take the spoon and kind of like drizzle a little over, and that way you can reduce the amount of chocolate you're putting on it as well. Or you can just like dip the bottoms or half dipped. So many options. So I'm going to put these in the freezer for another 30 seconds. Then we can taste and see how well they turned out. I'm super excited. I think they're going to be delicious. All right, they are finally out of the freezer and I'm excited to try them. I did think that, you know, when I tried to put the toothpick in, it was kind of hard. So a little worried about that, but we're just going to have to find out. That's pretty good. The oatmeal is a little icy just because it did have that liquid from the almond milk in there. So for these, I might actually refrigerate these over freezing them. But no, that's pretty good. I like that. That's a nice little treat. Yay. All right, so that's how you can take a really simple dessert and get some really fun and creative ideas to really go with whatever event you have. You know, hopefully you use some of these ideas for your next Halloween party or any party in general. At the very least, try making the Oreo balls the original way. Those are a must try. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. See you next week. Bye. No, not next week. It's Halloween. See you tomorrow. Bye.